Hello YouTube, this is Alexis, the transgender duelist, and today I'm going to be bringing you a Denglong deck profile. So I know I don't really do a whole lot of meta-like decks on my channel, but I think this one definitely deserves a chance, considering that if Zodiac and if True Dracos do get hit, like they might get hit on a new list, which I personally think is going to be coming out around the 20th, maybe a little bit later in the month. This deck is definitely going to be something that's going to be pretty relevant, as I don't think that the dinosaur engine is going to get hit, and I don't really think that we're going to be seeing Denglong get hit, at least not yet anyway. So let me go ahead and just go ahead and into the deck profile. Running double Ash Blossom, so I was originally running 3 of this, but I decided to drop it down to 2 to add in a third back to the front because of the fact that Ash Blossom in testing wasn't always helping me as much as the Ghost Ash was. Like, it was helping me against things like, say, Pile of Desires or Search Effects, but against things like Diagram, Dynamite, or heck, even a Zodiac Broad Bolt, it just wasn't doing as much as a Ghost Ogre was going to do. So I dumped it down to 2 just because it's still relevant, but it's not nearly as good as Ghost Ash. We're running double Earth of the Yang Zing. So we're running quite a few Yang Zings, but not as much as you might expect for a deck based on Denglong. And there's a reason for this. The Earth Yang Zing is good, the level 1 Yang Zing is good, and the Fire Yang Zing is good. All the other ones are kind of hit and miss. Which is why I'm not really running most of the other ones. But the Earth one, the Earth one allows me to, I'll go ahead and just quickly go over the combo. When you have Denglong, use its effect to send a Chew-In to the graveyard. And then when your Denglong gets either destroyed or used for the cost of 9 pillars, or gets tributed over by a kaiju or whatever, you can go ahead and summon out either fire or him. If it gets destroyed by 9 pillars or by your opponent's card effects, you summon out the Chew-In in the graveyard, and you summon out the Earth of the Yang Zing, and then using its quick effect, you get to go ahead and summon out you get to summon out Herald of the Arc Light over here, which is another negation. So if you can summon out Denglong, you effectively will have 2 negations instead of just 1, which is really strong, especially in today's metagame. Also, doesn't hurt that Herald of the Arc Light does actually stop some cards from being able to resolve or even be activated. Like for example, your opponent can't activate. I think like Max C. Max C required a graveyard. Yeah, like Max C requires the graveyard. This thing requires the graveyard. Like, yeah, there's a lot of cards that just don't work if you don't have the graveyard. Running double Chew-In. The reason why we're running 2 of it and not 3 of it is because we don't really need 3 of it, but we definitely need more than 1 of it. So 2 seems like a happy medium. Basically, you want to always be dumping this thing off of Denglong's effect so that you'll have Chew-In in the graveyard for when you resolve 9 pillars to stop your opponent from doing something. And then you're able to go ahead and go into either another Denglong, or you can go into Herald of the Arc Light. You can go into a lot of nice things just because level 1 is a really good level for a tuner monster. You're running triple Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre is basically the same thing as Ash, only it doesn't negate. Although it does prevent certain card effects from resolving with effects, and even if it doesn't stop them from resolving, it does still allow you to remove the problem from the field, which is really important when fighting against certain decks. Like, for example, against Zodiac, Ghost Ogre is just a lot better than Ash because Ghost Ogre hits everything. Ash only really hits, like, say, the Rapier effect, and doesn't even remove the monsters. So if they don't detach the Rapier, you don't even really get any value out of it. You're running the 1 Darkness of the Yang Zing. To be quite honest, you don't really need this. I'm honestly going to probably be dropping it once the next ban list comes out because I've never actually had a time where this helped me out. The idea behind it is that you use Darkness and the Earth Yang Zing to go into a Denglong or a High Speed Roid, but in testing it just never really comes up. Running double Dracola, so I'm not really running 2 of it because I'm worried about throwing into it. Running 2 of it because I don't want my dinosaur engine to actually be dead at any particular point. And if I actually do need the 3rd one, well, then the game's been going on way too long and I'm doing something wrong. The idea, so I'm just going to quickly go over the combo. The combo is to go ahead, now normal summon Overraptor. Overraptor's effect, add a Miscellaneous Saurus. The Miscellaneous Saurus pitch to the graveyard. miscellaneous source effect to go ahead and banish it from the graveyard to special summon out an Olia, and then you go ahead and synchro summon for Denglong. Denglong searches out a 89 pillars and then sends it you into the graveyard, and that's your ideal opening play. Obviously, you have other plays, but that's the ideal opening play. We're running the one Max C because Max C is busted. We're running triple miscellaneous Saurus. So, and for that combo I just mentioned, the reason why you want to add to your hand and pitch it is because if your opponent has, say, a Solemn Strike face down, if you pitch it from the hand and it resolves, they can Solemn Strike it, but it won't get negated. It's just a little bit of utility there. The only issue is that they can just negate the Denglong, but I think, Denglong doesn't stuck though. But yeah, the idea there is just to prevent yourself from being hit by certain hand traps and stuff. Also, it's an 1800 booty that you can banish itself from the graveyard to just add to special summon. Oh, not really allowed to stay there. Triple Oviraptor for the combo I mentioned, and because it can search out Superconductor. To be honest, I think I would be running 2 Conductor, but it never really comes up. Running triple Susana Fire Liang Zing. This is here because it's a level 4. I think it really needs to get dropped down to 1, to be honest, though. Like, if I was going to drop it up to 1, I would just put, like, another D barrier over it. And then 1 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. This is just here as a failsafe, as sometimes you really do want that extra little bit of protection or interruption on your opponent's turn, and Ultimate Conductor Tyranno is just a really good monster for that. Running double Chalice so that we can hurt Zodiac and so that we can stop Dynamite Fighter from searching. We're running triple Fossil Dig, search out Oviraptor. We really want to get to that turn 1, so we're effectively running like 6 ways to get to it, so that's good. 1 Raigeki to clear our opponent's field. This thing is hit by my body so often it's not even funny. 1 Soul Charge so that we can do more combos. Admittedly, I'm not running any Link monsters, but this is still good to have just because I can go for Boxia or I can go for a Denglong or Crystal Wing. So I definitely still like it as a one-up. 1 Yangling Path because it's searchable off of Denglong, so I never really need more than 1 of it. Back to the front, this is here because it allows us to revive pretty much everything in our deck. Also, fun fact, you can actually revive Ultimate Conductor Tyranno during your opponent's turn so that you can switch to attack mode to attack your opponent on your turn. And also, it doesn't negate the effect, so you can even just summon it during your opponent's turn if it got destroyed. And then use its effect to stop your opponent from going for like a Link summon or a Xyz summon or, you know, whatever they're trying to go for. That's all for the monster count up. It's a pretty simple lineup. Oh yeah, I've already done that. We're doing 1-dimensional barrier. I'm thinking of cutting a fire and a darkness for triple D barrier because I'm never really using darkness and I don't really need double fire and Yang Zing. So it's up to you. If you want to edit in D barriers, that's what you want to do. We're running triple 9 pillars. So 9 pillars is basically our Swiss Army knife of all things. It allows us to very easily dispose of opponents' problematic cards and shuffle them into the deck. And it lets us trigger our Yang Zing effects. So I'm not really allowed to say there. Solemn Warning to help us out in the True Draco matchup, or just to help us out in general. 1 Unending Nightmare. This is just here because there are so many continuous spell and trap cards that we want to get rid of in today's metagame that I decided that running the 1 Twin Twister or the 1 Cosmic Cyclone was just not going to be as good as running a single Unending Nightmare. And also, against a Pendulum deck, you can just continuously pay 1,000 life points to blow up their scales until they run out of cards that they can actually activate from your hand, because you can pop 7 cards before you can't use the effect anymore, so pretty good thing. Also, it's once per chain, not once per turn. So do keep that in mind if you do decide to use this card, is that it's once per chain, not once per turn. So if you go ahead and just do it one after the other before the opponent's able to do anything else in the game state, then it's pretty good. Just keep in mind that it's gonna cost a lot of life points. And then we're gonna have 1 Yang Zing creation. Just in here because we only run synchro, so it's never going to hurt us. And if we do draw into it, our opponent has to answer it, or we're just going to always be able to outgrind them. But also, if I do have creations, like the only time I want a second Yangling path. The only reason why I'm running for only one is because you only really need one path, because most games are over by turn 5 or turn 6 in this deck. The extra deck is fairly simple. Double backs, yeah, because it allows us to spin back the entire field. One Black Rose Dragon to nuke the field. One Phantom of the Yangzing to lock down our opponent's monster effects. I've only really used this thing like 3 times against Zodiacs predominantly. I had to do it once against True Dracos, but it wasn't really relevant because, well, it was True Draco Yangzings. Not True Yangzings. True Draco Zodiac. So I just basically locked down the Zodiac engine and they weren't really able to do anything. On Crystal Wing, you can make this off of Denglong pretty easily. It's really, really powerful monster. Triple Denglong because this thing is literally what holds this deck together. Summon it, search on a Yangzing card, send Chuin to the graveyard, or you just go ahead and float into more combos. So there's really no downside to Denglong at all. One Herald the Arc Light, you could bump this up to 2 if you wanted to. If you want to do that, I recommend dropping this thing over here. Herald the Arc Light banishes any monsters in from the hand or the main deck to the graveyard, so that's very, very good. And that also allows itself to be tributed to negate anything your opponent would try to do. One Shabara allows us to go for game. One Cyframe Lord Omega allows us to get back our Chuins from the graveyard or to rip something out of our opponent's hand. One Stardust Charge Warrior, draw an additional card. TG, how about that? My dueling book just decided to log me out. One TG Hyper Librarian, not really relevant, but I do like to have the option to go for it. Just because, well, if we go for it and then revive it off of back to the front, we can draw quite a few cards. One Trishula, because Trishula is a power play, not really a lot to say about it. And then one Yazia, Evil of the Yangzing. I never really use it, but when you do use it, it becomes a really, really powerful card. Just blow up one of our monsters and then just load into another one. You can like blow up a earth, then summon out a fire, attack your opponent, or whatever you want to do. It doesn't work that well, but still, you get the point. Anyway, this has been Alexis the Transgender Duelist, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And this is probably one of the more competitive decks. You can actually take this underrated. You don't have a reasonable success rate, so if you do use it, just let me know how it works for you. Not sure if I should add link monsters or not. Like, the deck doesn't really go into the extra deck that often. Like, I usually just go for Denglong, go into Herald, and then from there I just kind of go into like into the Speedroid, or I go into Trish, or I go into Crystal Wing, and like it all depends on what's going on. Generally, I don't really use the extra deck that heavily, so that's why there are no link monsters in here. Anyway, I'm signing out, so peace out.